chapter 8 in the war room was the first scene that showed the president in the war room and that. So I was working with the characters here, and I wanted them to like look formal because they were in the war room discussing things.
Louder, Kendra.
So, okay. The first guy here is the president, and I put glasses on him because he's kind of a weird, awkward character, and the glasses kind of look awkward, and he had them anyway, so, yep. And the second guy is Turgidson, and at first I tried to like make him have the gun because he's always chewing gum, but it looks like he's smoking a cigarette, so I put a bubble on the side. I don't know if you can tell. That's what it's supposed to be. And I made his suit open because he's more laid back. And then on the bottom, he looked just kind of like the president, and I wanted to show that he was more like a strong character. So I made his head out of a square and a triangle, put them together, and it was stronger. This is the start of the first scene. They're just around the war room. And this is where the president is questioning Turgidson. So I just made them stand out a little more. But in the next scene, I put chairs around them, and I added eyebrows to the president because he's kind of angry about the whole situation. And I put Turgidson right in front of him so you could tell that he's questioning him. That's the first scene. And then the second one is Turgidson explaining the situation to everyone, and I showed where he's explaining how they only have like 18 minutes left until the planes will hit. So I showed the map of the places like where they're gonna hit the targets. And then I changed the wall to a different color because in the first scene the wall was white, so I just changed it. But yeah. Okay, and then the next scene, he was making a call to his lady. So while the meeting was still going on, so I just wanted to show that he's kind of like a laid back character. He kind of has like more, he's not just as serious as he seems. And he'll take a phone call in the middle of a really important conversation or meeting. So. And then you couldn't really tell like what the conversation was about, so I just added him like, thinking about it hard, so you could tell it was like two girls. So those are my pieces.
Is the president like missing one of his like glasses?
I wanted it to seem like he was looking to the side.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah. Becca.
I think that the heart is like kind of unnecessary just because he has a smile in this scene, so you can kind of tell already that he's having like an interesting, like good conversation rather than what's going on behind him.
Yeah, I think that a thing I would add here, the most significant thing probably about the way he ends that conversation is not that he loves her, but what does he tell her? Say your prayers. Is there a way you could represent that? Or hands.
Hands pulled together.
Hands, something, praying hands or something like that. It's still going to be a matter of meta discourse, which is, not the best way to get across something there. But I think rather than love, that's not really so much what's on his mind. He's kind of distracted both ways.
If you choose to keep this line, I would maybe consider flipping his face. It's like looking off the edge of the page.
Yeah, I kind of wanted him looking away from like the table.
Right.
Because he's not into that conversation at the moment, but.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe I'll just pan over a little bit then because you're so close to the edge.
Okay.
Well, to get rid of that problem that Kenny's pointing out and still make him kind of separate, you could make him face the other way but have him looking down or something so he really seems out of the sequence of people at the table.
Okay.
but I can see it having, just looking right off, everything seems to be running off the edge there. And that adds to the notion that the heart is kind of superfluous to fill up space or something, because it's the composition's running off the side. So you might be able to get something better by reversing it, but maybe making his face down or something like that to indicate he's only he's trying to multitask at the inappropriate time. What other questions or comments? You can ask for a different slide if you want.
Would you go back to see what Kyle saying I thought the bubble gum kind of looked a little funny in this one. If anything, it looks more like an ear or like a zit.
Wait, like on the side of his face?
Yeah,
That's,
I think.
It's like his cheek. I don't know how to.
Wait, which one?
Like this one?
That's his cheek.
Yeah, and this is the bubble gum.
Okay. So I'm a little confused. I thought it was his nose. It really comes off as a
I
nose.
didn't know how to make it.
Oh, that's fine. I would almost keep it as a nose. And
Just
then
move it over a
maybe
little
move-
bit so it's partly on the
maybe
face
move
and
that
partially.
bubble, like the bubble gum, more towards the center of his face. Like I was gonna suggest, like maybe add lips somehow.
Well,
Maybe try to add a mouth.
maybe you could suggest a way to get out of the bubble gum, because he's not really blowing bubbles, he's chewing gum. And if you think part of that is representing a cheek, did that come from initially trying to show the action of chewing, or why did? Yeah, see. So now Tanner has suggested lips. If you put some of these ideas together and rework them, is there a way to represent his face chewing gum rather than blowing a bubble? If you actually create a mouth, for example.
Yeah,
and-
lips and the cheeks pretty close together, and then go for the
The mouth slightly parted, because sometimes he does chew with his mouth open.
Maybe have like a triangle where one side, the wider side, and have the gum inside the wider side, like just
Yeah.
circles.
That would be good
gum.
too.
Or maybe you don't even have to have the gum in general. So, because basically the gum is to show that he's like kind of nervous, and kind of nervous having to chew a lot of gum. So
I
you
thought
just
it
show
was-
that he's nervous by maybe having like a bead of sweat on the side of his
I
head.
just thought it would show. It was like showing his more like fun side, not his nervous side. Like, because everyone else is smoking a cigar and he's chewing gum.
Yeah, there is something about the fact that it's chewing gum that makes him look a little high schoolish at times next to some of the people. And one thing you might want to do too, when he's standing there, you know, he can be pointing at us. He doesn't need to be the way you guys look at the screen. He doesn't necessarily need to look at the screen. He knows what's behind him. He can be full face toward the audience, and toward us when he's doing it. And that should give you enough space to work with the face and do something about gum. Other questions or comments there?
Is he supposed to be looking at the screen or like facing at the screen? So it's like a side view?
Yeah, but I can.
Yeah, I think you'd find it easier to make him face the people rather than the screen there.
I think two of your triangles are too close to the center of the board. Just because they're like all still going there. And like, if they're all still going there, two or three of those are already like where they should all be going. They're still in the process. Maybe it's bringing.
That or
Maybe just like bring
maybe just don't have the red lines connecting them, and have the triangles be the points that there need to be.
I think that you have to show that the triangles are, that gives the sense of how far they've gone in relation to the map. But yeah, I think you need to think a little bit more about the direction, positioning, and stuff up in there. Other questions and comments?
Red out in the middle. Where they should be going, how close they are to where they need to go.
There's a triangle by his bubble with no red dots behind it.
I know, I noticed that. So no one else will catch it.
Others?